Let's jump into it. So I might not look like it, but I'm a Christian financial coach, and I've helped my clients pay over $20,000 in debt. I've personally paid off $8,000 in debt and also saved $12,000 in 14 months on a, what was it, $25,000 income. And so when I tell you, when I tell you what to do with your first paycheck, I'm not guessing. I am telling you the same things that I have personally done. And I gotta say, I used to save every single dollar when I first started out, and I thought that was the right decision. It sounds like the right decision. Somewhere along the line, I also learned how to spend money really well, and I probably did that too well, honestly. I definitely did. But what I never figured out until I studied these specific things was the right path, the right order when it to actually win with money. There's a pathway. I found it, and I'm going to give it to you. So, most people are in one of two places, especially when starting out when it comes to making money and what to do with it. Now, I'm not going to talk about the making money part, but I'm going to talk about what to do with it. And most people are uneducated in these two ways. They are either anxious or what was it? They're either anxious or overwhelmed when it comes to handling money, and so they just don't know the first thing that they need to do, or they are simply uneducated and they are completely unaware of what they're supposed to do. Both cases is simply an educational issue, and I'm going to solve that today if you give me about 10-15 minutes. So, Isaiah 4 verse 6 says, God's people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Not a lack of money, a lack of knowledge. The more I coach, the more I find the income is not the problem, it's the person that's handling it. And there's good news and bad news. That means it is you, but it also means that it can be fixed. Just being blunt with you. You either clicked off the video and are not becoming wealthy, or you're still here. So, point is, so in this video, I'm giving you that knowledge and the things that you're going to need when your first paycheck hits. And whether it's your very first paycheck or if you've had a long stretch of no work and you kind of feel like you're restarting, this is really for you. So, by the end of this, you're going to feel like this is very doable because it's really easy, simple stuff. It's just a matter of processing the knowledge and actually taking action on it. So, 3 principles that I'm going over here. One is the mindset, one is the habits, and one is mindset, habits, goals, as I like to call it. And so, the mindset is the most important one. I'm just going ahead and throw that one out there first. The problem that I constantly see is people are constantly thinking, oh, this is mine. This is my money. I worked for it, and I should be able to use it how I wish. Those are the same people that are constantly stressed and frustrated when they don't have money. So there's a weird mental shift, and you'll recognize this if you're a Christian, when you understand that you're not supposed to be the owner of the money, but you're actually supposed to be the manager of it. And I'll get to that in a minute. The point is, when you assume you're the owner, pressure builds. Society builds on you and your finances, and just makes it really slim and hard to use, so to speak. And I find these people either freeze, they don't do anything with their money, or they spend, and as the world is like diving for their money, they are spending it as a coping mechanism to handle the situation around them. You're stressed, you're frustrated, you don't have a plan for your future. You might be 42 and you're thinking, I need to plan for retirement, but you're also spending $30 every day on food, on fast food, whatever. And that's the stuff that I mean. So, nothing gets built when you are the owner, when you are in the ownership mindsets. I actually found something recently, I'll show this real quick. The CEO, president, owner of Hobby Lobby has outright claimed that he is not the owner. He is the manager and God is the owner. So I'm not just pulling this out my butt. Now, the shift here is that you manage. Managing simply means that you understand that it's not yours and that's God's. I already hinted at that. So God owns it all. God has created everything. And so that means he has a right to everything. And he is so gracious enough to give you and me the opportunity to play a part in what he has already created. So, the fancier word is that we are stewards. And this goes into the parable of the talents. Now, I'll give you a quick summary of the story just from my memory. I'm not going to go into it too deep, but there were 3 servants and a master. And the master goes away and he leaves each of his servants a certain sum of money, each different sums, but I'm not going to get into that. Anyways, the first 2 servants went and invested their money. They used it so that way they actually used their money and multiplied it. And the 3rd servant froze, didn't know what to do, and he just buried it in the dirt. And so when the master came back, he said, "Well done, my good and faithful servants. Well done, my good and faithful servant," to the servants who went and multiplied their money. But when he got to the one that buried it in his dirt, he called him an unfaithful servant. And he actually gave the money to the one who made the most money. And so, the point of the story is that we have to learn to not bury our money. And I'm coming from a place that I've definitely done that a couple times in my life. So, we have to not do that. Now, once you understand this mindset, you start to kind of think, well, why? What is this for? What's the point of being a manager? Well, the point is simply, in my opinion, is to serve God and his will, because his will is for you to play a part. His will is for you to manage it correctly. In my opinion, his will is for you to have a great impact on the world with the money that you multiply, because you're managing it now. It's just up to him how much it gets multiplied. And the point is to have a great impact on the world. It is to be generous and be a good example to others. That's what I believe it means to be a wealthy Christian, a true Christian that happens to be wealthy. And so, again, on the manager thing, when you understand that mindset, stress goes down. You understand that you are supposed to hold it with an open hand, as Dave Ramsey would say. And when that happens, you can switch from just trying to survive to trying to serve. How can you serve? And that's the key thing there. So stop asking what to do with your money and start asking what your money is supposed to be doing. So now let's talk about what it means to put that mindset into action. And that is habits. This is more specifically here in this example of first paycheck kind of situation, budgeting. And the misconception here is that a budget is like a cage that just locks you in and it's uncomfortable. But the reality is not that. And if a budget has felt that way, it means you've been doing it wrong. A budget is actually a blueprint. It is a guide. It is a plan. That is all a budget is. So no blueprint, no house. And what that means is, well, have you ever tried... If you know anything about architecture, you know that you cannot build something without a blueprint. I actually wanted to be an architect for a good while when I was younger, and I learned that the blueprint is honestly the most important part of the entire building. That's why many architects got paid way more than anyone who was playing a part in building the house, because you had to have the numbers and the details right and accurate. Otherwise, that house was going to crumble, fall down, fall apart. I'm not talking about a literal house, but I'm talking about your financial house. That's what this is. And so in order to build this financial house, this blueprint, this budget, it's really simple. Four easy steps here. One is you give first, because you recognize that it is God's first, and that's what this really means. That's the definition of a tithe, by the way. You save second. You build your financial well-being second, because that's actually what it means to be a good Christian, is to build yourself, to build yourself up as well. Third is taking care of your essentials, because even though it's the third priority, God's going to give you the ability to actually take care of your house as long as you're faithful. And 4 is everything else. That is your wants, that is your sweet tooth, that is your vacations, that is your extra time with friends and family. That is that stuff. And so that's real easy, real simple. Just go get a budget app, go do that. And to add on to these systems, because I really just kind of went into detail of a system that you can do. A couple examples here is stuff like auto transfers, weekly glances at the budget, monthly reviews, monthly meetings with your spouse if you are married. And the whole point is that it is about progress. It is not about perfection. The point of systems is to make things easier and more convenient for building your wealth. But it will never be perfect. That's just the wonder of life. There will always be mistakes, and it's just a matter of going through it. So, the day that your paycheck hits, before you spend every dollar gets a job. That is all a budget is. That is a budget. So, if you get this mindset right, you get this budget in place, that is fantastic, but it's not going to go very far if you don't have this third thing. And before I get into that, I want to mention real quick, everything I'm teaching in this video so far is coming straight out of my free school community called the Freedom Finders community. And in that community, the main thing that I can give you is I go over what I call the 15 days to become a wise manager series. It is a 15-day course. Idea is Monday through Friday. You watch a 5-6 minute video in the morning before you go to work, and you just get clear, concise wisdom on what to do with your money. So 15 days from now, you will have all the education that you will need to actually handle your money right, whether you are, getting an interview tomorrow for your first job, or if you have been doing this for 5 years and you still just feel kind of lost when it comes to handling money. God's principles and all of what I've learned is in there. So I hope you'll check that out. Many other benefits to the school community, but that is the main thing. And it's all in this video is just a summary of that 15-day series, really. So I hope you'll check it out for more. Anyways, back to the video. Principle number 3, final principle, is the vision. It's what I meant by when I said goals at the start. And so the Bible says without a vision, the people will perish. Really simple. So I think it's pretty important to have a vision. But without a vision, budgeting feels pointless. Discipline fades. Drift sets in. You lose motivation. And cut that out. And so life really sucks when you don't have a vision. I learned this from another mentor of mine, so to speak, Donald Miller. He studied story a lot, and he learned that our lives should be like stories, because we are the heroes in our own stories. And something that made every good movie, every good story, was there was always stakes. It was clear what would happen if they succeed, and it was clear what would happen if they failed. And so the problem is many people go through life and they don't have those stakes clear, and that is why they drift through life. And in some cases, 20, 30 years can pass by and it feels like nothing has changed. And it's because there was no reason to change. But what a life with a vision looks like is knowing what you're building. When you have the blueprints for that financial house, then you can actually build a house. In today's market where everyone's questioning like how the heck they're supposed to get a house, get a mortgage, whatever, it's actually possible if you make the plan for it and make the steps for it. Next, 2 specific things here is create a 90-day and a 1-year target plan. This simply means cast a vision, where are you going to be 90 days from now, 3 months from now, and where are you going to be a year from now? Say 3 months from now, I want to start that side hustle. I want to not have to work as much as I am. I don't know, but the point is that we are building towards long-term freedom, and it starts in these smaller steps, baby steps, so to speak. I know 90 days is a stretch, but financial freedom is really a long haul game. That's why most people don't win it. They don't have the patience for it. And so in order to reach that long-term freedom, you have to make specific goals, not vague goals. Let's say you were trying to lose weight and you just said, I want to lose weight. That's the goal. Then technically you can go the rest of the day without eating, get on the scale, see that you lost a couple ounces, and you achieved your goal, right? Obviously not. You and I both understand that, and it's the same way for honestly every aspect in life, but especially so finances. Lucky for you, finances is the easiest one to track, in my opinion, because it's literally a number. It's not like I want to get smarter, I want to get fitter. It's I want to save an extra $1,000 by the end of the year. That's really easy, really simple. And so you have the right idea there. Now it's just a matter of writing it down, making it clear and plain. Put it, as my pastor would say, put it by the fridge door handle, the most commonly used place in the house. So you have all that, and then something I want you to understand is that your paycheck is like a seed, and that with every paycheck that you get, every time you're actually taking action on this, you are casting seed. The Bible says that he who sows little will be rewarded little, but he who sows much will be rewarded much. And so how much you are rewarded is equal to how much you put in. It's not I'm going to buy one lottery ticket and I'm going to win the lottery every time. It's, of course, honestly, in my opinion, don't buy lottery tickets. But anyways, I'm just going to move on. Vision is what you're growing towards. And so after you budget, just take 10 minutes, write down 3 numbers, write down 90 days, write down the 1-year vision. Write down how does it affect your family? How does it affect your job? How does it affect your health, your physical, your mental health? Let that vision pull you through the hard months. This is where the real leverage is. It's no longer a pushing motion, it is a pulling motion. Now, you usually got 3 things that nobody has taught you about your first paycheck. The mindset, which is the wise manager. You manage it, you don't own it. That changes everything, honestly. The habits, how to actually do a budget, what it means to have a plan with your money. And 3 is the vision, which you cast it. If you don't have the vision, you will fail. The Bible says that you can argue with God, not me. So, know what you're building and write it down. Again, it's the whole plan system. That is the foundation, and it is so much more doable than you think. I took a long time figuring these things out the hard way, and now I'm just giving you an easy roadmap that you can do. So, also, if you want to go deeper, again, I put together a free 15-day series called the Wise Manager series, and you can find it in the link in the description below to my free school community, the Freedom Finders community, completely free. I'm also going to be doing 1-hour live calls in the community about every Saturday morning or afternoon, and I'm going to be putting in a lot of other value, and all of my resources are going to be going into there. So it's kind of like a one-stop shop for all of my wisdom and education that I'm creating, and you get more access to me, honestly, with the live calls and the series, which is honestly, in my opinion, has everything that you need if you want to get from, honestly, it could take you to $100,000 in savings, honestly, just an example. So I hope you'll check that out. And that's the end of the video. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you got a lot of education from it. And I hope to see y'all in the next one. So God bless, guys.